Well, hey everybody, it's me, Jermaine, and I'm back for another Simple Truth update. And this thing just continues to go on and on and on. This is going to be forced compliance number 3. And I came across an article just today, and it really shows you, number one, it shows you the confusion and the mindset of these people in this alternative lifestyle. They really don't know where they're coming from, what they're doing, and it's almost like they're making this thing up as they go along. However, they have confusion, but yet they want everyone to accept them in their confusion. And let me share what I mean by that. I want to read this article to you, but before I go there, I was watching a video on Facebook, and it was a gentleman that was, discussing the transgender lifestyle, and he was fielding questions from the audience. And he was talking to a young lady. She had to be about 22 years old, and he was giving her facts, and she was giving her feelings and her opinion. And he made it very clear that he said the biggest thing that he refused to do or could not accept was that he could clearly distinguish between male and female, and was not going to be subject or forced into the confusion of those that have a problem with identifying with what nature has deemed them to be by their genitalia. That he wasn't going to be a party to what he knew in his mind and could see very clearly as far as, outward appearance. He wasn't going to be brought into the confusion of whatever they choose to be or choose to do was what he was going to have to accept and falsify to himself that they were. But let me get to this article. And the article says LGBT acronym explodes to LGBTQIAAPP. Yes, you did hear me. All of those letters, as gender confused snowflakes completely lose their minds. So here's what the article had to say. It says, is there a limit to how stupid the liberals will get? One wonders if there will ever come a day where they say to themselves, whoa, let's slow down here. We're getting a little crazy with all this political correct stuff. Probably not. What used to be a simple acronym, LGBT, is now LGBTQIAAPP, according to a terminology guide put out by the Virginia Commonwealth University's Office of Multicultural Affairs. Why they don't just make the acronym the entire alphabet, so that no one is left out, is beyond me. What used to be a simple LGBT is now that long acronym that I gave to you. VSU states in their guide that gender language is certainly evolving, and these definitions are not by any means comprehensive, adding that terms of self-identification should not be used to label others without their consent. If you're like me, then you probably have no idea what any of the letters stand for beyond LGBT. Luckily for us, we can take a glance at the guide and figure out what exactly is going on. Of course, we know that LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. The first Q in VSU's acronym stands for queer, which means that you don't identify as your birth gender, but you're not heterosexual either. This sounds to me like it's a gray area of the acronym, so to speak. This is a letter dedicated to everyone who doesn't exactly know what they are or who they are attracted to. The second Q stands for questioning. Similar to queer, someone who is questioning is unsure what his or her sexual orientation is. They are still exploring and don't want to place a social label on themselves for one reason or another. The I stands for intersex, which actually has to do with biology, not psychology. Someone who is intersexual was born with a variation of the human anatomy that doesn't fit the typical male or female definitions. This also includes variations of chromosomes, sexual hormones, or genitalia. The following A stands for asexual, which is someone that isn't attracted to anyone. They don't find males sexually attractive, and they aren't attracted to females either. People who are asexual are sometimes said to not have a sexual orientation at all. This is, they are not heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual. The second A stands for something that I never even thought would appear in an acronym for sexual orientations. It stands for allies, which are these who support and fight for equal rights and gender equality. These are the ones that are out in the streets with the signs that say, Donald Trump's a homophobic, or let's transgenders use the bathroom of their choice. Now this is related, and it says it in here, this is related to my last video. It says, read about what the NFL is doing in response to Texas's transgender bathroom legislation. In other words, allies are liberals. We're almost done. The first P stands for pansexual. This is someone who will be at the club, walk up to a girl and hit on her, and then do the same thing 5 minutes later to a guy. In other words, pansexuals are sexually attracted to both males and females. I always thought they called this bisexual, but what do I know? The last P stands for polysexual, which, believe it or not, is virtually identical to bisexual and pansexual. Someone who is polysexual is sexually attracted to more than one gender and or sex. Maybe I'm just bigoted, closed-minded, conservative, but it appears that 3 of these letters in the acronym could have been consolidated into one. I know the liberals will tell you that it's very important to not leave anyone out, but would it kill them to make it a little bit more simplistic? I said it before and I'll say it again. I propose an acronym that is far more inclusive than anything the left has proposed thus far. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So what do you think? Sound good? Now this was a bit of a poke at what's going on out there. However, that poke is not far from the truth. These people are so confused in what they are. It's definitely something that is going on in here that, if you truly believe in the word, is activated by spiritual confusion, which is manifesting itself as natural confusion. It just goes to show you that this forced compliance, it's amazing how they're forcing us to accept something that they themselves don't even understand or have a true foundation of what they truly believe that they're dealing with. This has been the simple truth. And as I always tell you, it's the simple things that are oftentimes the most profound, but yet they're the most difficult to put into practice and to actually do. I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll be sure to see you, and you again on another episode real soon.